Welcome to Hiring America. I'm your host, Lauren Wanko. Today we'll be speaking with Dr. Gangaram Singh, Executive Vice President and Provost of National University, about NU's new MBA program built to develop visionary leaders. Dr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
National University recently launched an exciting first of its kind Master of Business Administration in partnership with the Center for Creative Leadership. Tell us about this new MBA program and what's so unique about it.
You know, when we built this program, we didn't want it to be just another MBA program. We wanted to create some distinctive elements in this MBA that will work for a variety of students. So first and foremost, it's fully online. Unlike most programs, we also have various steps that you can get on and get off. So it's like a carousel. You don't have to come in a particular cohort and move, but you can step on when you're ready, and you can actually step off and rejoin at a later date. And because of our 1 month format, we're able to do this. So it's an on-off ramp that allows you the flexibility. A core element of this program is recognition for prior learning. So we understand our military personnel, for example, have had several call to duty, and they have done remarkable things in their lives. And so we want to make sure that the learning there can be recognized in the degree. So we have a very unique way of assessing the learning in those areas and allow those to be counted for credit.
Dr. Singh, tell us a little bit more about the Center for Creative Leadership and why you decided to collaborate with them.
The Center for Creative Leadership is an organization out of North Carolina in Greensboro. They focus on the leadership development in organizations. So they have been providing leadership seminars and workshops for Fortune 500 companies for a long time. They're located throughout the world. They have 3 different regions around the world, and they are able to incorporate that global content in what they do. This is the first time they're embarking on a collaboration with a university to offer an MBA degree.
Most master's degrees take at least 2 years to complete. Is that the case with this new MBA program?
Again, here you'll find the innovative spirit at National University. One of our critical goal as a university is not to count education based on the length of time that you spend in a particular program, but to count it based on the competencies that you have mastered. So time or pace should be a variable. Learning should be the outcome, right? In this particular case. So we want to allow enough flexibility so that an individual can then design what's the appropriate time for them to do it. You know, Lauren, you and I, we're 2 different people, right? And you may have more responsibilities than I do. And so you're able to structure your time in a certain way that you can accomplish something maybe a lot faster than I can. You can learn something a lot faster than I can. And we want to provide that. We don't want to fix the time. So it is a 1-year program. It is an accelerated format. We are well known for our 1-month format, where you come in and you focus on one course for a particular month, and you then switch to another one. It's 45 units, like most other MBA program. So the fact that it's a year doesn't mean that it's a shortened period or the amount of time that you spend on the program. It's just that it's concentrated, and it allows you the flexibility to move at your pace. It's 4 quarters, and each quarter is punctuated by an experiential exercise. And that's a signature activity that we're hoping for, that you can actually practice leadership, and you're taking these practical skills with you as you're going through the program.
Are the requirements the same as other MBA programs? Do applicants need to take the GRE or GMAT entrance exams?
We don't require a GMAT or a GRE. And it's interesting, and more these standardized tests are becoming less and less efficient in predicting success. So across the nation right now, especially coming out of the pandemic, You have university systems that are moving away from these standardized exams. And for a long time, the efficacy of these standardized exams in terms of predicting success has been in question. And so we don't want to exclude anyone. We're not in the business of excluding or being selective in a particular area. Our role in terms of educating the adult learner is to make sure we serve them, not to serve, not to sort them into category. And so we don't require a GMAT or a GRE score.
Was there a specific type of student NU had in mind when creating this new program?
Again, this hits at the core of access in our university system. It implies that there is a certain prototypical student that is supposed to do an MBA or is supposed to be a medical doctor. We want to break down those exclusionary practices. We want to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to an education, specifically the CCL MBA. Our strategy is very unique. We call it precision education as an operational strategy. And what we want to do is to look at you as a student, as a learner, and say, where are you starting? What is your ability level at this stage, and what is your motivation? And how do we craft a unique way for you to get to your destination, which is a CCL MBA? And we know that each student will require a unique set of support system. That's what we're committed to. So in our precision education as an operational strategy, we use this thing called assessment-led adaptive instruction. And we want to make sure that we're constantly helping you. We're testing, we're making sure that you're mastering the concept. And if you're not, we want to surround you with a support system to get that competency mastered. So for example, if you're having a difficult time with algebra, we want to make sure that you have that support. If you're having a difficult time with managing your schedule because you're a busy person and you have a life outside of school, we want to make sure you have that support. If you're a military personnel, whether active or veteran, we want to take your experience into consideration and customize an approach for you to get to the end. And we want to make sure as you're going along that we recognize that with these micro credentials that we're talking about, or these badges, that then you accumulate it into a degree. We don't have a prototypical student. We treat each individual as an individual learner, and we adjust our practices to meet your needs as an individual.
As we've discussed, this MBA program has a unique focus on leadership. What were the trends National noticed in the business world that led to this emphasis?
Yeah, no, a very good question. And I think, for years to come, we're going to struggle with two critical events that have affected all of us in the last year. But it also started before that, the pandemic. The pandemic has really emphasized the importance of being able to cope in different environments. And the other event is the tragic death of George Floyd. And while we were a very conscious nation for a long time, that event really emphasized the importance of social justice in society. And so whether you are a military leader or a business leader or an educational leader or just leading your softball team, you're going to need to understand that diversity, equity, and inclusion is here to stay. And so we're going to need leaders with the capacity to move us forward in this very different environment.
What are some of the types of classes that candidates can look forward to enrolling in?
This is another area where National University is very unique. And you said classes. And earlier in our conversation, I talked about competencies, and they're not necessarily the same thing. In a class, you bundle a bunch of competencies as learning outcomes, right? But what you do in that situation, you either take the entire class or not at all, right? Lauren, I'm sure when you were going to university, you were sitting in a class at some point in time and say, why am I doing this again?
Yeah.
I've done this before 7 times,
Yeah.
right? Or you're sitting there and you're thinking, I wish that this teacher would focus on this particular aspect because I don't understand it as much,
Also,
right?
yeah.
That's the beauty about disaggregating a curriculum, because now once you have those disaggregated content, you can go back and customize it for Lauren or for Gangaram, right? We don't have to necessarily have the same dose of everything. We can then personalize it to that particular individual. So I think this is going to be a very different experience for our learners as they come in. Instead of focusing on classes, they'll be focusing on competencies. And here's the beauty about it. You know, at the end of a course, you get an A, a B, or a C. In in this model, at the end of every module or at the end of every competency, you get a badge that you can take with you, and we will stand behind that badge that you have mastered that competency.
How does having an MBA benefit someone over the course of their lifetime employment?
It allows you to prepare for anything that will come ahead. So an MBA will really help you to manage yourself as an individual, which you can then take into your community and into organizations and into society.
Dr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us here on Hiring America.
It was a pleasure, and I wish every student who or every learner who comes into this program success. I think we've put together a very unique program, and it really can be customized for each individual as they move forward. So best wishes.
Thank you, Dr. Singh.